But in this game, the previous game we saw a pretty solid opening, so let's see what happens there. But in the Hikaru game, we have something that looks like a queen's gambit so far. Another solid opening from Hikaru. He's playing a lot of strong, solid lines today. Sarana goes for a pawn push here, which is not the most traditional, but he's trying to keep moving it upwards here and annoy Hikaru a little bit. He also had this idea of trading off the bishops, which is a good idea because this bishop often becomes a bad piece behind this wall of pawns. If it ends up on this spot, it can't actually do anything from there. So this is a nice strategic idea from Sarana. The problem is when trading off these pawns, these bishops, when you've moved the pawns like this, is that these squares become a little bit weak when you don't have the light squared bishops. So maybe that's something Hikaru can exploit by moving this knight up here, maybe supporting it with the pawn, and then he can bring the rook in here and try to create some trouble. So I still think this is a little bit more comfortable to play for Hikaru. Now he also has some more space with this nice pawn here. Maybe he can support it like this at some point, but for now he needs to defend his knight. Instead, he moves back into the center. That's a little bit surprising, but maybe he wants to just block everything here and make it difficult for Sarana to develop. I would expect him to challenge the knight here, though. That seems like the most straightforward move. And in that case, I am curious to see what Hikaru has planned. Maybe he actually wants to long-term play on the king side. If he brings his knight back here, he can potentially do that. Sarana doesn't have many pieces on that side and could have a weak king, potentially, if Hikaru wants to attack it.
Definitely. Alexey Sarana from Serbia. He plays a lot of Title Tuesday. He is incredible in this format. Remember, he won Game Week 1 in the autumn split with Title Tuesday for the first time being played without increment in a completely new format. Alexey Sarana was the one who won the very first edition. He has 21 Champions Chess Tour points. He scored some nice results so far in Title Tuesday, but he is currently in 9th place, currently outside EWC, Esports World Cup qualification. He definitely needs, and he is definitely eager to score as many points as possible. He is fighting to win Title Tuesday today. Tough matchup today, though, in this round 7 against Hikaru Nakamura.
Yeah, and Hikaru doesn't look too happy because, as we see, the eval bar says it's very equal. There isn't that much to try for Hikaru here. He's bringing in his rooks, which looks nice, but at the end of the day, you can't really attack that much with the rooks. And I think what he should have done previously is kept the knights on a little bit earlier. Then he could have had some more chances to play for a win, but now it's quite difficult. Sarana is being very solid here. He's also not really down on the clock, and he's going to just try to trade off the rooks, and it's going to be hard for Hikaru to win this. He doesn't have a clear plan, and he has to figure out what to do now.
He has to figure it out. Both players around 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, he doesn't look too happy.
He doesn't look too happy right now, Hikaru Nakamura, but the evaluation bar is in the middle in this game. It says balance. This is round 7 out of 11. Always 11 rounds in Title Tuesday. Hikaru Nakamura can no longer score Sarana, but we do have 2 players heading into this round on 6 out of 6 points. Sam Sevian and Denis Lazovic. A win here. They don't have to win here, these 2 players, but not scoring the full point here is potentially falling behind in the fight to win Title Tuesday today.
Yeah, for sure, because in Title Tuesday, you need so many points to actually get in the top, and you have to win almost every game. So every draw is, not optimal. You have to try to win every game. And I mean, for Sarana here with black against Hikaru, it's not bad with a draw. I think he would be happy with that. But for Hikaru, he needs to try to win every game, especially with white. And it's going to be very hard here. He has I would say, a slight advantage because he's in control of this C file. He has pretty good pieces, but there isn't really anything to attack here. There aren't any targets for Hikaru. And Sarana just plays a pretty simple move. He attacks the rook. I don't think he's going to do much. He's probably just going to move back. And yeah, after that, he might try to bring his rook over here at some point. He does it immediately, actually, attacking a queen. And after that, he's going to save his bishop. And yeah, he's still very, very solid in this position. Hikaru might hope that Sarana trades these queens, because that would actually give him a passed pawn that he can try to move up. Instead, he just trades himself. He's still in control of this C file, so he's going to try to bring the rook in somehow. But once again, there aren't that many targets. He needs to try to end up in a position here where, let's say he can trade the bishops. He can have the superior rook in this endgame and try to attack this pawn and have a very slight advantage. But now actually the bar swings. It says it's better for Sarana here.
Trouble for Hikaru.
Can he bring his rook here? Yeah, exactly. This pawn, how do you defend it actually? Did Hikaru miss this? He doesn't, once again, he doesn't look happy about this. Seems like a free pawn. Hikaru though, is he going to go for some sort of counter attack here against Sarana's king? Because this king is very exposed here with these dark squares not being protected at all. It's a typical checkmating pattern here. If you have a bishop on this square and you bring the rook around, super dangerous. So maybe they're both playing for a win here and they both have decent chances. Suddenly this ended up being super interesting out of the blue.
Wow. Well, that's what you get in Title Tuesday with no increment on the clock and 11 rounds every single Tuesday. We see fighting chess, we see aggressive chess, we see chances, we see blunders, we see brilliant moves. Hikaru. Oh, much better now. What's happening?
Yeah, so what's happening is that he has suddenly a passed pawn, which is very dangerous. He can just give a check, start marching this pawn up the board. That pawn starts moving very quickly, and you have to start thinking about how you're going to stop it. Sarana's counterplay is also not that obvious. The thing is, he also has a passed pawn, which he's going to start moving up the board. So this becomes a race here with the passed pawns. Who's going to promote first? And maybe neither of them are able to do so, but at this point, it's very difficult to play for both players. Hikaru also has this weak pawn here, which Sarana now correctly tries to attack. And once again, it looks better for Sarana, but super complicated.
Wow, and he joins us on camera. That's fantastic, because this is about to get dramatic. 2 players now ticking under the minute on the clock. Right now, Sarana is much better, but it feels like this can go any way.
Yeah, this could go either way, but I think Sarana's pawns here are much more dangerous. He's been able to bring 2 very dangerous pawns up the board here. This one is now a protected passed pawn, and protected passed pawns are a lot more dangerous than only passed pawns, because as we can see, Hikaru's pawn, it can't really move because the rook will just take it, and it's very hard to get in a situation where you can start moving that pawn. And in the meantime, Sarana's pawns are also very dangerous. We can see Hikaru trying to bring the bishop back to support here and stop the pawn from moving, but once again, Sarana controls this square with the rook, tries to move the pawn up. Yeah, it's not over yet, but it's very difficult for Hikaru here. We also see them very low on the clock.
Huge moment now for Alexey. Sarana better on the bar. He is in 9th place in the Champions Chess Tour standings today without Magnus Carlsen playing Title Tuesday. It's a huge opportunity to score CCT points.
He picks up a pawn. Yeah, he gets Hikaru's pawn, so now he's actually the only one who can play for a win here. Hikaru doesn't really have any very dangerous tries here. Oh, did he blunder this move? Once again, extremely complicated here. The point is he has pinned this bishop, and now this passed pawn is coming. What do you do about that? How is this going to be defended?
And red clock for Sarana.
Yeah, now it's completely winning for Sarana. The question is, can he do it in time? He's down to 8 seconds, but he has a rook and bishop to deal with. Now he's going to give a check. Can he pick up that rook? It's going to be very difficult. He needs to at least get rid of these pawns as well, so that you can, worst case, sacrifice for the rook. I think he has to do that. Does he have time, though? Does he have time? Wow.
Can he do it in time? Can he do it in time? Eventually, it's a draw. Wow, how is that even possible? Mate in 5, less than a second left on his clock. It ends in a draw.
It ends in a draw. That could have gone either way. I thought for a second Hikaru was going to win, that Sarana wouldn't be able to pick up his rook in time, but then he suddenly got the rook, but he was too low on time to actually give checkmate with the queen there.
So is it actually Hikaru